Tricks like y'all. Has a whip. I'm fucked up. You fucked up. Now, one, we gon' be alright. Whoa.
Tonight in Melbourne, something happened that Australia has never seen before. From the second Kendrick Lamar stepped onto that stage at AAMI Park, the entire stadium felt like it was shaking from the inside out. No warm-up, no suspense, no easing in. Kendrick walked out under those lights, looked at a sea of screaming fans, and immediately reminded the whole world why he is the most important artist of this generation. This story begins right there, on night one of the Australian leg of the Grand National Tour, where Kendrick Lamar stepped into Melbourne and delivered a performance that fans are already calling one of the greatest nights of his entire career. AAMI Park was completely sold out. Not a single empty seat. Tens of thousands of people packed into that stadium hours before the show even started, buzzing, chanting, vibrating with anticipation for one reason. Tell 'em Kendrick did it. And the moment the beat dropped for the first song, the energy exploded like a shockwave. Kendrick didn't ease the crowd in. Let's dive in. He launched straight into the heart of his massive hit from GNX, and within seconds, every voice in the crowd was screaming the lyrics back at him. This wasn't a concert, it felt like a cultural event. As the smoke cannons fired and the stage lights whipped across the arena, Kendrick moved through the opening section of his set with surgical precision. All right, then family ties, then love, and every single song felt bigger than the last. You could feel it in the ground. You could see it in the faces of fans who were crying, laughing, screaming, recording, and stunned silent at the same time. Because Kendrick wasn't just performing his catalog. He was reliving the turning points of his career, with an entire country watching. And then came the moment that took things from incredible to unforgettable. The opening notes of Euphoria. The crowd lost its mind. Before Kendrick even spoke a word, the Australian crowd roared so loud you could feel it in your chest. People jumping. People climbing on shoulders. People screaming like it was a war chant. Every bar of Euphoria hit with a force that made the stadium feel alive. When Kendrick walked across the stage with that calm, icy confidence, the same confidence we saw during the height of the global rap battle earlier this year, the crowd fed off it like they were witnessing history in real time. Then, in a moment that caught everyone off guard, he paused the music, looked out at the thousands of people screaming his name, and said the line from his album that has now become iconic. Against all odds, I showed up as a gentleman. The crowd erupted again. And that's when the show reached its next legendary level, because Kendrick wasn't alone tonight. Schoolboy Q stormed onto the stage, and the entire stadium exploded. The energy doubled instantly. Fans who weren't expecting him screamed like they had just seen a ghost. Q didn't waste a second. He turned the show from a historic performance into a full-blown TD takeover. When he performed that part and hyped the crowd between songs, the stadium felt like it was bouncing. The chemistry between Kendrick and Schoolboy Q was so natural, so intense, that even fans in the very back could feel it. Night one was already legendary, but this moment, this was something fans would talk about for years. As the music faded into the next section of the show, it was clear. Kendrick Lamar didn't just come to Australia to perform. He came to make a statement. If the first half of the show was pure adrenaline, the second half was where Kendrick proved why he is in a league of his own. The pacing of the performance shifted, not slower, but deeper. More intentional, more cinematic. Like Kendrick was taking Melbourne through chapters of a story he had carefully built over more than a decade. Fans had come for the hits, but Kendrick gave them something else. A reminder of why his music matters. Every transition felt like a film scene. Every lighting shift looked like it was painted on purpose. Every moment on stage carried this calm authority, like he wasn't just rapping. He was controlling the air itself. When the instrumental for Mad City rolled in, the stadium turned into a riot of voices. Tens of thousands of people screaming, YK, yak, yak, YK, in unison. Kendrick leaned into the moment like he was reliving 2012 all over again, but with the wisdom and power of an artist who has evolved far beyond the kid from Compton. And through all the chaos, you could see it in his face. Kendrick wasn't performing out of obligation. He was performing out of gratitude. This is a man who survived one of the biggest years of his career, fought through a musical war that had the entire world watching, broke records, dropped a culture-shifting album, and now stands here, receiving his flowers from a country halfway around the world. But the emotional peak of the night came when he shifted into the final run of the performance. The lights dimmed. The crowd quieted down. Then one spotlight hit Kendrick in the center of the stage. The first notes of Gloria played softly in the background, and something beautiful happened. The entire stadium lifted their flashlights. Thousands of tiny white lights, waving gently like stars across the dark field. Kendrick stood there, motionless at first, then slowly lifted his head as those lights washed over him. It felt like a tribute, a thank you, a moment of pure connection between artist and audience. And Kendrick let the moment breathe. He didn't rush the song. He didn't shout over the crowd. He let them sing parts of it back to him. And the sound was so powerful it echoed around the entire stadium. People weren't just attending a concert. They were participating in something rare. An artist at the peak of his mastery, sharing his soul with a country that embraced him as their own. When the song ended, Kendrick looked out at the crowd, pressed his hand over his heart, and smiled, a real, genuine smile. The fans roared like thunder. As the show neared its end, Kendrick Lamar wasn't just closing a concert. He was cementing a cultural moment. Melbourne felt it. The fans felt it. And Kendrick felt it more than anyone. Because tonight wasn't just a tour stop. It was a declaration. A declaration that after all the drama, the battles, the debates, and the noise, Kendrick Lamar is still standing taller than ever. After Gloria, the encore transformed the stadium into an epic celebration. Kendrick brought the tempo back up, turning the final stretch into a victory lap. He revisited fan favorites, dropped into Alright, and the crowd screamed the "We Goin' Be Alright" chant so loudly it shook the rafters. You could tell Kendrick didn't want to leave. He paced the stage slowly, soaking in every cheer, every scream, every raised hand. He watched the crowd like he was memorizing it. Then came the moment that fans are already calling the quote of the night. Before the final song, Kendrick stepped to the microphone and said with quiet power, "Tell him Kendrick did it." The entire stadium erupted. People jumped. People screamed. People threw their hands up as if they were part of the statement themselves. Because that line meant everything. It meant, through controversy, he delivered. Through doubt, he rose higher. Through every challenge, he created art that moved the world. And tonight was proof, in front of tens of thousands, that his legacy is not just safe. It is growing. As the final beat faded, Kendrick stood there on stage while the Australian crowd gave him his flowers. Loud, emotional, overwhelming applause. People chanting his name. Fans crying. Others calling friends and family to say, "You won't believe what we just witnessed." Kendrick bowed once, then twice. Then he pointed to the crowd, a gesture that said more than words ever could. It was respect. It was gratitude. It was acknowledgement of a country that embraced him like family. When he finally walked off stage, the lights dimmed and the speakers blasted the outro music, signaling the end of night one. But for fans, the night didn't end. Not in their minds. Not in their memories. Not in the videos already flooding social media. Night one was legendary. Night two now carries the pressure of history. And if there's one thing we've learned about Kendrick Lamar throughout this tour, it's that he doesn't just meet expectations. He destroys them. Melbourne was sold out. Australia was loud. And Kendrick Lamar? Kendrick Lamar made sure the world heard it. Tell him Kendrick did it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.